So about maybe 4 months ago, I had a coworker ask me to make a wavy flag as a puzzle. And after thinking about it, I was like, man, that's going to be really hard. I don't know if I could actually do that. But then I dedicated about 4 weeks of just CADing and modeling and doing different workflows. And this is what I came up with. Hey, so I really appreciate everyone tuning in. This is a pretty special build. I got monetized on YouTube about a year ago, and to give back to people that viewed my content, enjoyed the stuff that I've been putting out, I'm going to do a free YouTube giveaway. So I ended up making 2 wavy flag puzzles. One for my coworker, and then the other one will be given away for free. So make sure you watch the entire video, and you'll get all the details on actually how to get into the contest. So there was some major things that needed to happen, and one of the things was having very good pieces of lumber. And right now I'm using Padoke and curly maple for the stripes with walnut for the union. I usually use those base materials consistently for all my flags. They're easier to work with than most, and the end result is just, it looks really, really good. But this base material is absolutely critical for each one of these puzzle pieces when it gets cut out to align properly. You have a ton of stripes going a certain way. You have a union joint with the other stripes. And if you're off just a little bit, everything will just kind of get funky. So I spent a lot of time on the drum sander just removing very slightly just enough material to where I can just control that depth. And the 2 critical dimensions that I was really concentrated on was 3/4 and 1/2 of an inch. 1/2 an inch for each stripe, and then an additional width at the top and bottom, just so I can make sure that each stripe, when it's cut out, is exactly 0.5. So I spent a lot of time on that. Talking about the file and dimensions and the modeling. If you are interested in this file, I'm going to put it on my Patreon account. Definitely check it out. If you want to join a guild, that's what I'm trying to, build a community of like-minded builders that want to build very intricate and exquisite marquetry, CNC, different types of woodworking stuff to include laser. I'm going to put all my files on there for sale, and then the members for that tier we'll have a certain discount and a whole laundry list of other things. So definitely check it out. I'll put a link in the description. So again, I'm paying attention to this base material. Everything has to be flush. It has to be flat. And there can't be any deviations within the stripes. Again, if there's any deviations, mismatched dimensions for the width of those stripes, I'm going to have to throw it all the way out. But most importantly, I'm adding veneer on the backing of this. And I did that for a specific reason, because I was nervous that the joint between the union, the walnut, and the stripes were end grain to end grain when I was going to glue it. And I thought that was pretty weak. And say if the puzzle piece just dropped on the ground, that it would just break. And adding that additional plane added an additional strength, and it actually strengthened it up a lot. Another important step is to understand tolerances. And in the file, I ended up putting in a whole laundry list of different tolerances for each puzzle piece. And I just picked which one my machine could machine the best. And I ended up landing with no offset, just with a final pass, a cleanup, and it produced an offset that was just perfect for me. But again, the file, it's very basic. All the tool path generation for the CNC is already built into it. So I'll put a whole list of the different bits that I use for this project But the Fusion 360 file has all the tool path generations, all the speeds, feeds, all the passes, depths. Everything that you're seeing here is already programmed into that file. So if you want to see how I do that stuff, definitely check it out. So building the two flags, I wanted to try a couple different things. I ended up doing one cut for the puzzle pieces as using a spiral down cut. And I've used those in the past with great results. It leaves a very clean edge. But what it has an issue with is it's pushing material downward. And to get a nice clean edge and a deep pocket that I just put in there, I want those chips out. And my dust collection system it can't get it out. And so the other puzzle piece base material that I had, I used a spiral upcut. And I'll show you the differences between the edge profiles because it's pretty significant. And one was really clean and the other one wasn't. So you can see the top puzzle and the bottom puzzle. You can see those little machine marks. With that final pass, there shouldn't be any machine marks there. And I noticed significant machine marks. And again, same parameters, same material, everything was the same. But the upcut it really left those machine marks on the edges. And so in the future, I'll have to figure out a different strategy for my dust collection system. Here's another critical step that really I had to pay attention to was that zero. And not so much for the profile cut, but the base material to cut the puzzle pieces out. I had to make sure everything was 100% aligned to those stripes. This is actually a new bit that I just got. This is programmed into the file. This is a 1/4 inch end mill, or not an end mill, a ball nose. And this thing just ate material. Ended up being right around an hour to cut everything out, but I didn't have to sand anything. I sanded a lot, but that was just, from 220 to 320. I wasn't removing any machine marks because there just wasn't. My step over was pretty small, and that bit really did a really great job. Another important note here is, since I made two flags, I wanted to see how the differences between doing a V-carve, that was the V-carve, and using my laser to cut out the stars. So one flag was done by the laser and the other one was done by a V-carve. The V-carve was very, very nice. It left really clean edges. But I use painter's tape. That is not the right tape for that. There's other masking that you can put on there. I'll put a couple of those links in the description on what I actually ordered. I just didn't have it on hand. But this is my P2 made by xTool. This thing is super awesome. It maps the surface using a laser to do the measurements, and you can build a grid, and in that grid you can build a mesh, and it's very basic and it's very fast, and it was able to map that curvature, and then I just put the SVG in for the stars, and it instantly just followed that contour and burned those stars. So using painter's tape for the laser, it's very easy to paint. I paint all my stars. I just use basic acrylic, and I get pretty good results. But on the V-carve, since I didn't have masking on it, I had to take my time and make sure that I didn't dump a bunch of paint into the grain, because once it's in there, it's really, really hard to get that paint out. So I was really careful. But again, it looked really good and very fast. And you can see the depth of cut for that V-carve. It just looked really good on the edges, very crisp. Some of those edges, it can get kind of funky because, it gets pretty brittle. And those edges are not very thick, and they can chip. And once it chips, you know, it's going to deform that star, or it'll do some funky things. But now I'm just kind of just lightly sanding, taking some of the some of the burrs that, you know, that just happened. And I just slowly walked in that offset to make sure each one of those puzzle pieces fit correctly. Now for the giveaway, I'm not going to do a box for the giveaway. I only made the box for my coworker. But I wanted to make sure that that file for that box and the marquetry will be on my Patreon also. So the original design for the mountain scene to do laser cut marquetry, all that stuff will be in there, and I'll add some workflows and some how-to guides, different types of materials that I use, where I buy my material. Within that guild, I'll go 100% in depth. And I think, and that's pretty special to do. And I think there's value more than just me putting that file on Etsy and somebody downloading it and then struggle through it. If you join the guild, you have me on speed dial. And that means a lot. If I was to buy a file, I would expect some sort of customer service or dedication to make sure that, you know, somebody's actually successful trying to make it. So that's the community that I'm trying to build. So the box is coming along pretty nicely. While we're making the box, I'm going to go ahead and we'll go through what it takes to actually enter into this free giveaway. So really the only thing that you have to do is, one, you have to be a subscriber, and then two is you have to leave a comment. And you can leave whatever comment you want, like this thing is terrible, it looks terrible, or it's super awesome. Leave a comment, anything. As long as you do those two, you're automatically entered. And then later this month, on the 31st of August, I'll announce the winner and get your information. I'll ship that flag with the little base directly to your house for free. It's pretty cool. And honestly, you know, having a channel on YouTube and having an audience and trying to figure out how I can give back other than just make videos of things that I'm making in my garage. I hope, you know, that it's definitely something that I want to keep trying to do. And this was just a great opportunity, one, to share my Patreon, two, this super awesome design for this American flag, and hopefully somebody really, really enjoys it when they get it. So I wanted to show this, and the joinery for the base. When I slide that plywood in, that base for the plywood, I want to make sure that there's additional space so I can miss that joint on the end. If that makes any sense. I don't know if I'm actually explaining that correctly. But again, it's missing that joint. And then what it'll end up doing is it will slide forward and it will lock those joints together. I can't remember the Japanese term for the joint, but that's been around forever. And it's super simple, and it made the base part of the puzzle, which I thought was really cool. And you know, somebody that is going to start this thing and the base is disassemble, they're gonna have to assemble it, and there's only one way to make that work. But again, testing all the fits, everything is looking really good. The box, the marquetry turned out really well. The big leaf maple on the outside of that box is just phenomenal. I got that from Deadwood Sawmill. I'll put his information in the description of the video too. And super great guy. I get all my wood from him. And then I'll also leave my veneer supplier. And I'm not affiliated with any of these people. I've always used their products, and it's a no fail, great price point that I got to share that. So for the finish, I ended up using just Rubio, and it kind of made sense because it's a durable finish. You know, the oil-based hard wax. Once it's cured, it'll last for a pretty good portion of its life. And again, it's durable. This puzzle will be used. It will be, you know, put together, disassembled, tossed around, and it should last. All right, so we're nearing the end of this video. Again, I really appreciate everyone. Definitely make sure you subscribe. Definitely like the video. Leave a comment. The comment could be anything. Well, I'm more interested to see if you like the V-carve stars or if you like the laser engraved ones better. Definitely let me know in that comment which one you prefer. But again, machine time versus laser time, it's about the same, but sometimes, you know, the different profiles, some people prefer, you know, that look compared to something that's flat. But again, the P2 is a super cool laser. It did a really good job. All right, well, hey, I really appreciate you guys watching the video, and I got a ton more content. I have a whole laundry list of big designs that I'm doing for other puzzles, some really cool 3D stuff, and so definitely be on the lookout for that stuff, and I'll catch you on the next video. I really appreciate it, guys. Thanks.